good. And that takes us to our market update. You know, if you've been paying attention, the market's been shifting. We'll go through some of those numbers, but just the sheer amount of listings that we have right now in our just listeds. If you were here a year ago or even a year and a half ago, you would have seen that that number was a little bit smaller. We are seeing listings add up a bit. And so really what I want to talk about today is just some of the changes in the market and what we can be doing to adapt to that. Now this is our average days on the market in Riverside County. And for today's presentation, I'm focusing a little bit on the county numbers. Now we know individual markets and individual cities may vary, but I wanted sort of a macro view because the truth is we're watching trends that are regional, right? And though neighborhoods and different may vary, the macro is going to be really important. So average days on market right now, 33 days. Now that might sound, to some of you who have been only been in the real estate market for 2 years, you might go, 33 days. Pretty standard stuff in the world of real estate, right? 60 days standard stuff. It's why we tell you to get a 90-day listing agreement, right? Because that was pretty standard in your listing agreement. So 33 is still relatively low, but if you look over the course of the year, it's been going up. In July, August, September, it's gone up, I would say, rapidly. Now that is something that is not surprising looking at the interest rates. Interest rates have gone up. It's also not surprising looking at seasonality. Right? We know that we have two things happening in our market right now. We have a seasonal shift and we have a market shift going on. And so that's going to help, that's going to contribute to those days on market going up because we are right now in what I would call the late harvest. Most people do not want to move at Thanksgiving, right? And so if you go under contract right now, you can still close before Thanksgiving, but we're getting into the holiday envelope. Right? And so this is the late harvest. What that'll tell you is now is critical time. So let's look at County of Riverside median list price to sales price. I went with the median on this because the average was just way kind of skewed by some overvalued listings. But looking at the median, what the median as opposed to the average is the median is the midway point. Half the listings are selling under, half the listings are selling over. So the median list price was $599. The median sales price was $575. So what does that tell you about sales price as far as compared to list price? Sales price is coming down, right? We're still seeing a lot of price reductions. And that's also very important information because there's still a lot of drive-by realtors who maybe only do a deal a year or 2 deals a year who are operating on 6 months ago information. There are also still a lot of sellers who are operating on 6 months ago. Well, my neighbor Linda, she sold her house 9 months ago and she got $50,000 over asking. Yeah, Linda was lucky and timed it well. You're not Linda, right? So that's the thing. And so we've got to make sure we're educating our clients. The CMA was not, the listing presentation and the CMA were important. They've always been important. Now they're critical, right? Because list price is coming down a little bit and our sales prices are coming down next to list price. You know, the reason we're at 33 days on market is not because homes aren't selling. It's because there are a lot of overpriced homes. There are still a lot of buyers. There's just a lot of overpriced homes. So that's what's impacting that. Expired listings in Riverside County, 392 expired listings in August. Now that's fantastic. That's really good news for the realtor. Why? Opportunity. 392 people said, I really want to sell my house, but didn't, for whatever reason. And it might have been that they were unrealistic about price. It might have been that they didn't have a great realtor who could help them understand the importance of pricing correctly, right? And so that's you. It might have been they had a realtor who took pictures on the iPhone and priced it too high, and so the home never got any showings. Right? But you are a professional, so you're going to get professional photography done. You're going to help them with staging consultation. You're going to help them to price it effectively. And if they want to come on unrealistically, you're going to have a pre-approved plan to reduce the pricing to get it where it needs to be. But better than that, you're going to do everything you can to take the listing priced correctly. Right? But this is opportunity. Because to most of us, how many out of those 392 do we need to have a great month? 2? Right? All right, so there's opportunity. And I'll tell you what, there's a whole section, well, there's a lot of realtors right now who aren't even going to bother. because they've got a lot of conversations they're having with themselves about why they're not the guy to go get that and how it's too much hassle to deal with it. And I don't want to do that. And they might hang up on me. Oh, no, that's opportunity, right? So that's what we've got to keep focused on. So just something to be aware of, right now in Riverside County, there are 32,487 active listings. Or actually, as of September, there are 32,487 active listings in Riverside County. That's a huge number of active listings. The actual number of sales in Riverside County in August was 2,587, right? So that number, I looked at that a couple times, like, wait, no. Now remember, actives are coming on and off, right? 2,587 in Riverside County. Okay, that's important information. How many do you need? 2 maybe? 1, 2, right? Good. So now we've got the perspective, right? So what is 2 out of what is 2 out of 587? What percentage do you need to get? Not a high percentage, right? Yeah, 1.1 something. Like, okay, good, right? So in order for you to have a great month in September or in October or in November, I just have got to get 1%. I'm a 1%er, right? That's all you got to do. Now but we know that the reality is that number 2,587 is giving us insight into a broader trend. So if you look at the numbers over the last 5 years, August of 2017 there were 3,496. August of 2018 3,328. August 2019 3,691. August 2020 3,361. August 2021, 3,188. So what does that tell you about the volume overall or the number of units overall right now?
Everyone thought the pandemic was good, but look at the numbers. It was better before the pandemic.
Yeah. No. It's been good. I mean, we've had some great, we've been kind of going up since the crash, right? 2012. We've been kind of going up since 2012. We're having an actual market adjustment right now. Right? There's a lot of factors that are going into it, and that's important to know. It's not important to know so you can be scared. That's absolutely not the right takeaway. It's important to know because what you should see in that is there are a lot of people who are in this industry who will not be in a couple months, in 6 months, in a year. There are people who've got experience over the last 5 years who will not be in the business in a year because no one is working with them to up their game, right? Because what was easy is no longer easy. Now it's skills-based, right? Just flat out, nobody is going to get lucky listings next month. Maybe a couple, but there were businesses that depended on it, and they're going away. And now the people who do the work are going to eat market share, and that is you. You are the one who's going to put your head down and do the hard work to make sure that you're getting your absolutely unfair share of 2,587 sales, right? You're the one who's looking at that and smiling. Because what you know is now is the time. Now is the time for predators, right? The sheep will be no more, right? That's you. You're the hungry, right? You're the one who's going to put the work in and get it done. The trend just tells you the competition is going to get thinner. Make sense? That's our mindset. We've got to get our unfair share. And so kind of moving into content today, what all that I see in the market trends is opportunity. Because in order to hold my own, I just have got to get 1 or 2 in the next couple months. If I can continue to get 1 transaction through October, through November, through December, you know what I'm doing? I'm doing what nobody else will. Because the majority of real estate professionals will sit on the sidelines through October, November, December, and they'll tell themselves, well, nobody wants to sell. Guess what? We've never had a month with 0 sales. Right? Never. So that story of, well, nobody wants to sell is absolutely a limiting belief. In order for that to be true, there would have to be 0 people who had to sell or wanted to buy. And that has never in the history of history been true, right? So that tells me there's always opportunity. And if I want to come out in 2023 and take massive market share, then right now, I've got to be the guy who finds the deal, or the girl, depending on you. Good, okay. So here's what I want you to do. I want you to write something down right now. I want you to write down your big, hairy, audacious goal. How are you going to close out 2022? How are you going to close out the fourth quarter? What is your goal? And what I'd like you to write down is something that scares you a little bit. Now, I've thrown out some mild numbers. 1 deal a month for the next 3 months. That's just 3 deals. That might scare you. Some of you are looking at that going, yeah, I could probably do 1 deal a month. Okay? Write something down that's going to challenge you, that's going to scare you, that's going to say, I'm afraid to commit that. If I tell people about this, it's going to make me look silly. That's the big, hairy, audacious goal. Are you writing that down? I know I'm good looking. Stop looking at me. Write it down. Okay, good. Okay. Good. All right, Christina, love it. All right, we'll talk about it in just 1 second. Okay. Shouldn't take that long. But if you reach that goal, what would that mean to you? Right? That big, hairy, audacious goal, what would that mean to you if you hit that goal in the fourth quarter? Anybody want to shout out? Be great. Okay. Thank you, Jocelyn. Okay, Christina. Pay off a lot of debt, get closer to financial freedom. That's a pretty good goal. All right. That's a pretty good why. What else? What would it mean to you? You'd cap? Yeah, David would cap. I love that. Yeah, if he hits that goal, we'll cap. And we're not far. We're getting there. What else? What else would it mean to you?
Pay off our house.
Pay off the house? That seems like something that'd be sweet to do in the fourth quarter as everybody else is standing on the sidelines saying there's no deals. Right? I love it. What else? I love it. Yeah, man, that's in my mind right now. Man, I want families from Keller Williams to have fantastic Christmases. I want them to bless other people's Christmases because they hit those goals. What would it mean to you? Yeah, Alice.
Oh, can I share?
Yes. Sure, go for it.
Okay, all right. So we're talking about goals, and we're talking about camping, right? You want to camp? And so then this T-shirt, the acronym is, what would Donna Gilbert do? And you're wondering, who's Donna Gilbert? And so Donna Gilbert is somebody in the Pivot Shift group who has been a realtor for like 16 years. And she has never capped, ever. And then she started watching the Pivot Shift Ahead. And one day, she said, I'm going to decide to get up and do my job. She wasn't a rocket scientist. Nothing about her changed. She just made the decision to get up and do her job. And then she ended up capping, at the end of her year or whatever. But then in her new season, she capped. It was either 2 months or 4 months, but even 2 months. She capped in 2 months after she had made that decision. She has never done it before. So in honor of her, we have a What Would Donna Gilbert Do? And basically, whenever you get stuck, it is doable. And she's just a normal person, and all of you can cap. Guarantee it.
Yeah, I love it. Thank you, Alice. Yeah, literally, she just woke up one day and said, I'm actually going to do what they told me to do, right? I mean, it's crazy because there's so many, like if I want to be in physically fit shape, what do I have to do? I just actually have to show up and do it, right?
Actually, I
Yeah.
did that in my life.
Yeah.
I did. All I did was do what I was supposed to do. That was 5 calls a day, 2 no cards. All I did was do the bare minimum, and I ended up being my production went way up.
Yeah.
Way up.
Yeah.
And it doesn't take that much.
It does not take that much. It's just committing. Now, I will be talking about some massive action, so I don't want to soft sell this. Like in the fourth quarter, we're going to have to commit. But I just want to, for a second, continue. What would you have to believe in order for that big, hairy, audacious goal to be impossible? No, you'd have to. What would you have to believe for it to be? Okay, to be impossible. For it to be impossible, what would you have to believe, Saul? Okay, you would have to just not start, or you'd have to believe you couldn't start, right? Because if you just not starting isn't a belief, but believing I can't start is a belief, right? So you'd have to be physically incapable of starting in order not to reach it, right? Are you physically incapable? No. Okay, good. What would have to be true for it to be impossible for you to reach that goal? It's unattainable. What's the goal?
There's no houses to sell.
There's no houses to sell. Yeah, that would have to be it, right? Are there houses to sell? Can't be true then, right? What would have to be true for you not to be able to reach your goal? What's that, Sam? Undecided. You would have to basically decide that you don't want it, right? That can actually do it, right? That I don't want this for it to be true, right? And that's something that honestly, all of the exterior factors are overcomable. But that one is the one that would stop you, right? Do me a favor, turn to a person next to you and just share the goal and what it would mean to you, right? Share the goal and what it would mean to you. I said it had to be a little scary. That's okay. All right, come on back, come on back, come on back. Good. So, you've got the goals. They scare you a little bit, right? That's a good thing, right? But what should scare you is what I don't get if I miss the goal, right? If I don't hit that goal, what happens to Christmas? And that sucks, right? And that sucks, right? Right. You know what happens to financial freedom? It goes, it's not possible, right? That sucks. You know, it's interesting, like we stress, stress, all of those things. It's funny, we have these vision boards, and vision boards are great, like to know where I want to go, it's good. But you know what's really powerful? Put a picture of yourself if you don't hit the vision. Actually, studies show that that is actually a more powerful tool. So if you want to have something to motivate you, put a picture, you get those, you know those old generators that you can get, like those apps? I did one of those. It's scary. Anyway, when my son got cancer, like a couple weeks later, that was up in the app, and I was playing with it, so I played with it. A lot of stress at that time. I put it on like social media. My mom, who's not watching closely, saw it, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, are you okay?" She thought like that I had aged that much, like that I looked like a 70-year-old from dealing with my son's cancer. Thankfully, I made it okay, and so did he. But you put that picture of what would my life be like if I don't, right? It might be that dumpy trailer park that you said I'm never going to live in, right? With you standing in front of it with that old face. Tell you what, that gets me working, right? I don't know what it is, but what's the opposite, right? And not to say that's to demotivate, but to say no, never, right? I'm this person. What do you have to believe about yourself to get there? What do you have to believe about the goal? And the thing is, if we focus on our big goal, what happens? We get overwhelmed, right? Like if I'm focusing on the big goal, like I'm going to sell 6 homes between now and the end of the year, and I've only ever sold 4, right? If I focus on that goal, you know what happens? I start to believe, I can't do it. I'm not that kind of guy. That's the person. Shut that down. What would have to be true? Would have to be true that I'm not capable. I know I am, right? So those things, but then focus on the plan. See, the thing is, getting to the goal is about the plan. It's about taking massive action. It's about commitment in all things. So I know that buying and selling real estate is a function of how many conversations you have, period. How many homes you're going to sell. Success in real estate is literally a function of how many conversations you have. If I have enough conversations with people, guess what's going to happen? I'm going to have enough leads. And enough conversations 6-7 months ago was different than enough conversations in the fourth quarter. In the fourth quarter, guess what has to happen? The number of conversations. They got to go up. So I have to commit to a schedule. Because they're not going to go up on accident. See, the one thing that success isn't is accidental. Massive success is not accidental. It's a commitment. It's an incremental thing. It's a commitment to running the play. It's a commitment to following a schedule. If I have to talk to enough people to get to my 2 units a year to close 6 deals in the fourth quarter, which so many people are telling me is impossible, then it's not going to happen on accident. I've got to commit. It's got to be a must happen. It can't be I'd like to. It has to be I will. And if you need the reason to get to the I will, it's what would it mean to you? Stephen, yours is great. I love it, Christmas. I will because I can see their little faces. I will because I don't want to see the other little faces. Right? I will. Right? Okay? That's a reason to focus on the plan. So how many people do you have to talk to a day? I don't know. I know that if we look at our BOLD program, it's about 20 a day. 20 conversations a day. You know what will happen if you do 20 conversations a day? You're going to run out of people to talk to. So then what do you have to go do? Find more people to talk to. You know what happens then? You get uncomfortable. Right? Good. Because when we're uncomfortable, we grow. I love the eucalyptus tree. I think about it all the time. The eucalyptus tree is so eager to grow that its skin literally rips off of it. Right? Have you ever seen them? Like that skin just hanging off of them? That's you. You've got to want it so badly that you're bursting out of the shell you used to be, becoming something new on your path to get where you're supposed to be. And when it hurts, you've got to say, yeah, that's just the old ripping off so the new can emerge. That's just the old habits falling away so the success can manifest itself. I'm becoming something new. And as I become something new, I will achieve everything I've set out to. It's not about selling real estate. It's about committing to a plan, running the plan, committing to the schedule. Massive action. Commitment in all things.
But we're fourth quarter, so we have to be 30 now.
You might have to, yeah. Christine, I love it. Christine just said my action was too small. Massive action is 30. Maybe it is. And it might be. And she's got more experience than I do. So if she says it, I'm going to listen, right? 30 contacts a day, and some of you went, I'm out. I'm out. Why? Why? What's the worst thing that could happen? You get 1 a month? You do 5 instead of 6? That sucks. You made $50,000. Poor you, right? What's the worst thing that could happen? People might hang up on me. They might be rude to me when I knock on their door. Okay, yeah, but that's not as important as Christmas, right? Yeah, absolutely. It's not important as living in debt, right? Or paying off the house, right? We change, right? So commitment, right? It's not about selling houses, it's about following a schedule. It's a function of how many conversations. Truth of the matter is, if you do what you've always done, you will get what you always have gotten. Right? True. Right? What is the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results. I love that you all knew that, because it actually makes me a little concerned that you've been in counseling at some point. No, yeah, doing the same thing over and over and expecting something new. If I want different results, I've got to do different things. I've got to be different. You know, it's got to hurt a little bit. I always talk about fitness. It's my metaphor, right? Cards on the table. I've been really bad at that for like the last, since, I don't know, 6 months. Maybe since I had COVID a year ago, maybe. And so finally, a couple days ago, I was like, I don't like the way my clothes fit, like, because I want them to be tighter in the right places. You know what I mean? Like all that. So finally, I was like, screw it. I'm up at 5 again. So 5 o'clock in the morning, the alarm goes off. I get up. It sucks. I don't like it. But I want the result. Right? I like to sleep. My last day sleeping in on Saturday, I slept till 10. It was amazing. Right? Okay, but that's not the result I want. I know where sleeping till 10 gets me, but I also know where getting up at 5 gets me. Because when I get to the office after working out, I've got more energy. And if I have more energy, guess what? I give that energy. And if I give that energy, guess what? You get some of that energy, and then you go, it's worth it to me to commit to the pain to become something new so we can grow. Is it worth it to you? It's got to be worth it to you. So do what you've always done. You will get what you've always gotten. If you're saying, I'm not that guy, good, you will be. Become that person. I was not a person who worked out. I was not a person who waked up at 5 in the morning. Become someone. Right? So, here's my challenge to us. 100 contacts a week. Christine just upped that. She said that's not going to be enough. We will touch base on Tuesdays. If it's not enough, you know what we'll do as a team? Up it. Because you know what no one else will do? Up it. Everybody else sits on the sidelines and says there aren't enough deals. Guess what? There's never been 0 houses sold, right? You just need some. So it's going to be 100 a week, contacts, conversations, right? Confronting the limiting beliefs, right? Acknowledging that I have things that I believe that I've incorporated into my personality that are stopping me that I can't let stop me anymore. So when I wake up in the morning and I look at that and I go, stop, interrupt the pattern. I don't want to do this. Screw that. Yeah, I want to do this because I know what's on the other side of this. So whoever that voice is telling me I don't want to do this, that guy shut up. Because I know that I am the person who can. It's not something I do, it's who I am. I'm going to confront that belief. In order for that to be true, what would that mean? I'm incapable? I'm physically incapable? I'm not physically incapable. Christine. Or Christina, sorry.
Last year, and I had 12 closing pending. So this year, I made the goal of doing 150 a week because I wanted to do more. So now I'm at 14 closing pending right now. And then I thought my goal was ambitious when I wrote it down of making 30,000 by the end of the year. And after I tracked my conversion of doing 150 per week, that led me to 14. How many conversations? Well, it was 158.
There you go.
I was like right on track.
There you go.
So I was like, and then we were doing like this boot camp where we're all doing 100 contacts in our team. But after I did that conversion, I'm like, I'm gonna do 160 because my goal was 30, and now I can get there because I've been doing it this whole year.
She's the person on the treadmill who keeps kicking up the intensity next to you, and you're like, huh, huh. You know? Right? Yeah. Success in real estate is just a function of how many conversations you have. You can make absolutely as much money as you are willing to. Right? You can have as much success as you're willing to. Good. So move with urgency. It's got to be urgent. It can't be maybe. It can't be no, urgent. If I didn't meet my target today, crap, I've got to do twice tomorrow. Urgent, right? And the way that that becomes real is you team up. You team up to win. I was talking to Mark the other day, and he said, yeah, David and I are getting a little competition. That's how you win. You team up, right? It's not a competition I'm going to beat you. It's a competition you're going to make me stronger, right? Team up, right? We've got our lead gen group for productivity, the PC Elite coming in the mornings, right? That group should be energetic because you are so excited about each other's victories. When you get here in the morning, there should be role play happening before the calls start so that you're walking in and you guys are buzzing with intensity. Right? That's what we got to be. Like in this market center, it's not just PC Elite. It's every single person needs to find somebody and say, here's my stupid goal. Old me thought it was impossible. Newbie knows I can get there, and you're going to help me. What's yours? That's how we get there, right? Right. So team up to win. We're going to do those things. And more than that, we want to help you by doing a listing contest in the fourth quarter. So starting in October, we're doing a contest. We're still working out prizes and things, but here's what I want. I want you to win. So the person with the most listings gets a prize. I don't know who that is. It's probably Tyler. Anyway, no, sorry. I'm just saying. Well, right now, if I'm watching the board, all right, that guy just keeps throwing them up. It's funny. I threw that down, and all of a sudden, Brent was like, "What did he just say? That was no. He didn't just say that, right? No. Yeah, person with the most listings in the fourth quarter wins a prize. I want to see fierce competition for that. I want people to be getting a little bit angry, right? I want you guys to walk into each other's office and be like, one more, right? Like that's the kind of culture I want for the next quarter. Push, 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 push. Hey, how many appointments you have? I had 5. Right? Like that's the kind of thing. What's your conversion rate? 70%. What's yours? Right? That's how we win together. Most listings, most closings, right? Because listings are good, but I mean, let's be honest. I could probably go list 3 today and just have ridiculous prices on them. Oh yeah, it's worth $1 million. No. So most closings is important, right? Most closing wins a prize, and that's the fact that you have the most closings. No. Any first-year agent with a listing in the fourth quarter will win a prize. So if you're a first year, you've just got your license during your first 365 days, you get a prize for getting a listing. Anybody who gets their first listing, we are going to celebrate the heck out of you in the fourth quarter if you get your first listing in the fourth quarter. Most new contacts entered in a database. Because I said it, you will run out of contacts quickly if you're only calling people who know you, right? If you're going to make 100 contacts a week, you're going to have to probably start talking to 20 new people every day, probably after the first week for some of you guys, right? For some of you, it might be the second week if we're really committing to it. But most new contacts entered. So Christine said 30. My guess is she's going to be entering a lot of contacts.
Forget that now. It's up to 50.
50. Christine came to play. I love it.
Gotta be Tyler.
Attendance award. You're at the trainings. You're at Connection Point. You're showing up to any lead gen activities, right? Why is that important? Because we change when we learn, right? You're the sum of the 5 people you surround yourself with, right? And it's not just the people, it's what you're ingesting. It's the podcasts. It's the reading. It's the books. You know, when I was in my 20s, it sounds so silly, but I read through all of Louis L'Amour's catalog. You know who that is? He's a writer of Westerns, right? My grandma had these in her, and then they handed on to my brother-in-law. I got them. I have a big chest of them now, right? And what's interesting is I can look back at that period of time and I can say I changed. It sounds so silly because these are really dime store Westerns, right? But the idea of self-determination, the sort of ethos, right, that changed me a little bit. I started to look at the world as, if I'm going to succeed, then I'm going to have to do the work, right? And that theme runs through these books over and over and over again, to the point that I got my 4th grader reading them now, right? Because I want him to see himself that his success is within his grasp, right? So when we go to trainings, we change. When you sit and you talk with people who succeed, you change. I don't want you getting ready to get ready, but I absolutely want you to continue to change. And then the All-In Award is one we're still working out what that means. But basically, this is the person who just played and left everything out there. The person who we saw them, like, you really should go eat something, right? Right? Or it's, hey, the alarm just said there's somebody still there at 10. What are you doing, right? Or I get here early, which I don't get that early. But if Melanie gets here early, right, and someone is here like already working and prepping, that's all in, right? That's the person that we hold up and we go, yeah. Because even if it doesn't come together, it will come together for that person. And we want to reward that. So 4th quarter, we're going to go all in on this contest. I'll be honest, I was a little nervous about contests. Because we've done a couple and they've been a little, right? We've had, not this one, okay? This 4th quarter contest, I want everybody to play.
This one's not based on luck.
There's nothing luck here.
No.
Just bust your butt, man.
Listings and closings. That's
Listings
it.
and closings.
No drawing.
No drawings. Nope. It is absolutely, you play, you win. All right? So here's what I want you to do coming out of this. I want you to call somebody who wasn't here and tell them that they need to have the best 4th quarter ever, and you're going to drag them across the finish line. Okay? That's it. The other thing I want you guys to do is I really want us to get bold. You know, Keller Williams created a program called Bold, and it is specifically designed for moments like this. So I said 20 contacts a week. I didn't make that up. That came out of Bold. Or tell me 100 contacts a week. That came out of Bold. And so Thursdays at KW Redlands from 9 to 2, from October 27th to December 8th, we're going to be running Bold. Now, when we do Bold, now we did it in the Market Center last year, I think, and it was virtual, and I didn't love the results personally. I'm not a virtual person. I'm a physical one, right? I want to be able to be in there with my team. I want to be able to be pushed by my team. I want to be challenged by other teams that are succeeding at a higher level than we are. So I said this to Brent, like, I want to do Bold really. I want to do it. I want to make a push. I want to get 30 people from Market Center there, right? And I'll be honest, if we're going to go there regionally and be there, I kind of want to win, right? I want to drink the tears of my, no, I mean, I want people to say, what is happening in Riverside? That's what I want. I want them to be looking over their shoulder saying, what's going on? Because I'll tell you what, my plan for this Market Center, we've got our Norco Business Center, we've got our commercial in Ontario, we've got this in Riverside. Our territory is huge. And so my plan for this Market Center is, from this moment forward, we're a regional power that is a force to be reckoned with, right? We are the place that people are looking over their shoulder because of the quality of the people who are here. And I know we've got those people. And so now it's just time to make that reality through the work we do. Make sense? Cool. Some of you looking at $7.99 and your heart stopped a little bit. That's okay. That's good. What's that? You got a month, right? We'll be reaching out to specific people that we think need to be in the room. But we want your thinking to change, and we want your world to change. Keller Williams, we grow mega agents. One of them sitting here right now. I think probably there's more than one, right? We got a couple who are already there. We got a couple that will be there within the next 6 months. Your friend committed. She said, I'm going to do it. She's done it every year since. Ray Wright, similar story. He realized he was almost at cap on a team, and he said, what am I doing? And every year since then, he's capped. Right, Ray? That's right. That's right. The only difference is you. We will give you everything you need to succeed. We will give you all the support you need. But you are the person who has to choose to do the work. Any questions? No idea. I'll find out. Any comments? Any feedback?
Just think it's encouragement.
Okay.
I really appreciate that. We have really encouraged me.
Okay. Good. All right. It's more than doable. Yeah. All right. I mean, Alice wins the day with 5 a day, people. Right? Five conversations a day. If she kicks it up to 100 a week, oh my goodness. Right? Absolutely. Brent, you're going to say.
I just, doing this at this time will launch you into the next year like unbelievable. And that's what you're doing. You're doing the hard work now because at springtime, our market typically somewhere between January 20th and Valentine's Day takes off out here. You're already going to be on the road. You're already going to be hitting it.
Mm-hmm.
And man, you'll come out of the gate like amazing.
Yeah. You do the work to put 1 on the board each month for the fourth quarter or 2 on the board each month for fourth quarter. You continue that work in January when no one is working, right, in this industry. You continue it in February. You know what's going to happen? 1 or 2, 1 or 2, 1 or 2, February, 1 or 2, 3, March, 3, April 4, May 5, 6, oh my God, I'm overwhelmed, right? You know what I mean? Like that's the trajectory from the work. Am I wrong? No. No.
Absolutely.
Is there anybody that doesn't apply to? Not one person. Not one person. We're going to have to do this, guys. And I was on my call this morning, and I know I've talked a lot, and I'm very entertaining, but I know it gets there's a limit. But anyway, I was on the call this morning with the team, and I was looking at the statistics and talking about this, and I said we have a lot of new agents right now, and I am really excited about the caliber of some of our new agents. Truly, Ray and I talk about this. Melanie and I, Sam and I have talked about this. We have some extraordinary agents who have just become real estate agents that we're looking at, going, this is going to be fun. This is going to be fun. And I said, you know what I love is they're not going to know a different market. They're going to think the work that's necessary to achieve in this market is just the way it is. And if they think that, what happens is as the market shifts, you know what's going to happen to their business? They're going to dominate, right? Because they started right now. The people who started 2 years ago, guess what? They're like, what happened? Who, you know what? It's all gone. Not you, right? You're saying, all right, do the work, do the work, do the work. It's going to make all the difference.